This leads us on to our third keynote speaker. It's Captain Esteban Pacha Vicente. He's the Director General of INSA. He's going to provide us with some information on maritime education and training as well. I'll pass the floor to Captain Vicente.
Hello, good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me to be with you today. It's a great pleasure. I am based here in London, and I'm always happy to contribute my experience to any of the maritime education topics that we can discuss here in London. But when the organizers invited me to contribute with my views about how maritime education and training institutions keep up to date with STCW changes and make use of IAM model courses, I did question myself how I can contribute to that debate. And although I have some experience as a visiting professor on maritime postgraduate training, I have never been a professor or teacher in proper seafaring education. And although I am currently governor of the World Maritime University, I am not involved in the academic part of the university, but only on the management and the policy matters of the university. But then I realized that like all my career has been based on STCW certification. I was trained as under the STCW standards, and I have made so many model courses, and I consider myself that all my career has been linked and thanks to the STCW training that I received when I went to one of these maritime education and training in Barcelona. So I said, well, I will just share with you our professionals on maritime education and training some of my views, maybe from outside to on professional work. And I have not, it's not a PowerPoint presentation, it's just a text with some bullet points that I want to share with you. So, as are you well aware, the purpose of IAM model courses is to assist maritime training institutes and the training staff to organize and introduce mandatory or recommended training requirements. And from that, I will just elaborate and put forward some ideas that you can take on board to discuss the future of your project in the following years ahead. As you know, model courses were developed after adoption of STCW convention. It's not in 98, it's 78. And they can consider as a complement of STCW requirements. But as the chairman of the subcommittee has indicated, there are lots of new maritime technologies and even new teaching methods. And in my view, revision and update may be considered necessary, and this is a good opportunity for many institutions to contribute to this updating of all the model courses. You know that IAM has developed more than 60 model courses, in which some are compulsory for seafarers. And this is again an idea for you to consider how UniMET project would prepare recommendations to IAM to determine whether the list of compulsory training is updated or a revision to include any other course should be contemplated. It's just to update the training courses themselves, but also to consider which ones should be compulsory and which ones should be of advisory nature. Of these model courses, some 40 have been translated into Spanish language and some 35 into French. Model courses in other languages different than English are, in my view, fundamental to facilitate training globally, especially in countries where manpower is originated. And again, this is an idea for you to explore how UniMET project would explore the option for training institutions to contribute to facilitate model courses in other languages different than English. Not only the 3 official languages in which the courses are published, which are Spanish, English, and French, but maybe in other languages in countries where special needs for maritime training are needed. And this is linked also to the need of attracting new people to the seafaring. And maybe one way forward is just to produce training in local languages. Although this has not excluded the fact that English, training in English should always be required in order to ensure safety communications and to ensure that everyone on board ships can communicate properly in English. In my view, a big challenge is also to expand specific training courses for the fishing sector, as the STCW Fishing Convention, as has been mentioned by my predecessor, will enter into force next year in September 2012. Therefore, this is an opportunity for MET institutions to explore how they can contribute in training of fishermen. And details about the need of training for fishermen has been illustrated with the figures and casualties that Chairman of SNF has just produced for us. STCW fishing will contribute to the reduction of those casualties and will go a long way to improve the present poor safety record on board the global fishing industry. STCW Fishing Convention will set the regulatory framework for the training and certification of personnel employed on board fishing boats, following similar structure as STCW formation ships. And as has been explained, this new regime will also be compatible with fishing vessel safety code developed by IMO, but in fact developed by SFF. Chairman is here with us today. This fishing vessel safety code developed by IMO together with FAO and ILO provides for the development of national or regional fishermen training manuals and guidance in appropriate format to suit the particular needs of the fisheries in a particular country or region and in local languages. Therefore, it is my view that the UniMET project will explore ways to develop such training manuals and guidance and to advise on which of the existing IMO model courses could be adapted to the fishing personnel as a requirement under the new STCW Fishing Convention, and what new model courses should be specifically developed for the fishing sector, in particular in Europe, as your project refers to Europe. Another big challenge in my view is how to adapt the model courses to the new e-learning methods. Model courses have been developed since '78 for traditional classroom training, and new technologies on board ships allow today for distant training or e-learning. UniMET project has developed already the EGMDSS course and could explore further and recommend how to adapt existing model courses to these new methods and technologies, thus facilitating a constant, updated and easy accessible training for seafarers both on board ships and ashore. Together with this, the issue of evaluation, of course, of the training plan electronically should be carefully considered to avoid any crowded environments. After adoption of Manila amendments to last year, 2010, to the STCW Convention, some of the model courses that related to STCW Convention and code are being revised and updated, and therefore this would be an excellent opportunity, in my view, to develop these courses in such a way that e-learning could be introduced. Among those amendments adopted in of the STCW Convention, I would like to highlight in the context of this presentation at least three of these amendments. The first one is to include improved measures to prevent fraudulent certifications and strengthen evaluation processes. Okay, I have prepared. The second one is requirement of new training in modern technologies, and most particularly the introduction of modern training technology, including distance learning and web-based learning. So these are three requirements that the 2010 amendments to the STCW Convention incorporate. All these amendments are into force in a few days, just in the new year, and UniMET project would again work in parallel with all these developments to contribute to redefine the future of maritime training. For this purpose, in my view, IT platforms are required. And now I just link all this with my own current responsibilities today. As Director General of the International Mobile Satellite Organization, IMSO is fully involved in facilitating these platforms in order to ensure that e-learning through web-based platforms will be fully accessible on board ships in accordance with the requirements of the new 2010 STCW Convention. As Director General of the International Mobile Satellite Organization, I have undertaken several actions to that objective. The first one is an active participation in the scoping exercise to review and update Chapter 4 of SOLAS Convention relating to radio communications, and in particular the GMDSS system. And to that end, IMSO is actively proposing the incorporation of new communication technologies based on broadband accessibility and services that should be available on board ships. And this technology is not today compulsory for ships, but is available in the market. There are different satellite providers that offer broadband connectivity to ships and fleet broadband, etc. So as this is available in the market, why not we, the regulator, should not incorporate these new technologies on board ships on a compulsory manner? I am not saying that ships are not using these products now. They are using them for commercial purposes, but are not, and it's not part of the compulsory equipment that ships should have. And unless this equipment is available on board of ships, we cannot produce any e-learning method, as some ships will be equipped and others not. And my second involvement in this action is an active participation in the Broadband Commission for Digital Development established in 2010 by the ITU and UNESCO, with the aim to boost the importance of broadband on the international policy agenda, and believing that expanding universal broadband access is key to accelerating the development process. I am a founder commissioner of this Broadband Commission, and it is my strong belief that in a future based on broadband, mobile satellite communications at sea are fundamental, and this is my particular involvement in the work of the UN Broadband Commission. In particular, mobile satellite communications should provide universal broadband services to all vessels and offshore platforms, ensuring enhanced maritime safety, security, and efficiency, but also facilitating e-learning and social communications to more than 3 million seafarers or passengers or fishermen on board ships at sea. And I can share with you that when I have explained that more than 3 million people are every day at sea and without any access to broadband for all these day-to-day communications, the UN was quite impressed by that, and the fact that the issue of mobile satellite broadband was introduced in the agenda of the UN Broadband Commission, because of course we cannot accept that 3 million people will not have access to all the different range of services that the broadband provides. My participation, therefore, in the Broadband Commission goes beyond these services, as mobile broadband by satellite should also provide other vital services on board ships, as e-health and telemedicine, or e-banking, and other online services that we use every day at home. Thus, deploying the use of broadband networks and services to the benefit of end users, in this case, the seekers. In summary, I invite UniMET to promote the use and count on mobile broadband services as a basic infrastructure in modern society that provides unique, powerful tools for facilitating maritime training at remarkably cost-effective rates. And of course, you have to adapt most of your training methods and model process to that new technology. And recognizing that without this broadband infrastructure and services, the shipping industry risks exclusion from participation in the growing global digital society, and that should be avoided, and that our seafarers should not be excluded from these new technologies and training methods. And I hope that these few ideas that I have put in my presentation will generate some debate and ideas for you to implement and progress with the project, and I wish you all the best in this UniMET project. Thank
you. I think you gave some very important points to us today about e-learning and also mobile internet. I think it's very important for these seafarers to make the profession more, that they want to come to work and see these young people. And I'm sure there's some questions, and maybe Giuseppe, did you say you have a question?
Very shortly. First of all, I congratulate you with the presentation, with very nice ideas. I am from Italian Ship Owners Association, and it's for the research, is a consortium of ship owners for research and development. And this is in line really with which are the needs, and we understand that there is exactly the spread of the broadband resources on board ships are vital for the safety, for the seafarers and so on. The only approach I cannot agree completely is to make this compulsory. Maybe there should be, like it has been done in the shore industry, some support or some industrial policy made by policymakers at the European or worldwide level or at the national level. This should be an instrument to promote and to encourage the use of the broadband. But I think that the solution of imposing the adoption of broadband solutions on board could not be perceived and could not be the better way to improve this essential step ahead.
Well, this is of course a political decision, and the body who has to take that decision is IMO itself. As I have explained, IMO has embarked in a process to review Chapter 4 of SOLAS Convention, dealing with traffic communications and the GMDSS system. It's in this exercise that all involved in the process, governments, industry, and the providers of the services should consider if broadband would generate benefit to the ship. I believe that yes, from my point of view, the answer is yes, because as I have said, shipping should not be excluded from new communication technologies. I think that shipping should be as efficient as any other industry, and all type of communications and business are done today by internet. But the important point, because SOLAS, as you know, is a safety instrument, the important point is to consider if broadband communications are safer than traditional communications. And again, my opinion is yes. And of course, we work very close with Inmarsat and with other satellite providers like Pacha, etc. And there is clear understanding that distress signal sent through one of these platforms using broadband, so mobile satellites, will be quicker and safer than using standard radio communications. And this is the important part that IMO should consider. If new technologies, new satellite technologies, new satellite platforms will be safer for seafarers and for ships, in addition of being more efficient for the shipping business. And if the answers to these two questions are yes, then other aspects would be benefiting from that, as I mentioned, e-learning, e-health, e-banking, Facebook, and social communications. Because young people, when I went to sea, we had not even mobile phones, so we just went from port to port and calling families. But today, young people, my daughters, will never survive without Facebook or social networks. So I think that this also will generate more people to join the profession, and this is a problem that I am also considering. So if at the end of the day, governments, shipping industry, satellite providers see that all these elements will benefit the sector, why not to make it compulsory? Because in that case, if there is not compulsory, we may have some ships without these systems. So then all the search and rescue systems and procedures worldwide could not be based on broadband. Only if one ship is not using a particular system, we cannot develop procedures for search and rescue. We cannot develop procedures for e-learning. We cannot develop procedures for safety communications. ECDIS, for example, the electronic charting on board ships. This is another element, the e-navigation concept, including e-nautical charts, have to be based as well on broadband because it's safer and it is faster than normal satellite communication. So there is a lot of elements that can only be improved through new technologies if these new technologies are available on board all ships. And if they are not available on all ships, we cannot change our procedure. So, but of course, this is open for debate. The industry will have a say. Again, I think that maybe the industry may see a cost for this by changing equipment on ships, but then a lot of savings can be produced in the long term by using internet instead of using standard communications, voice communications.
One very short comment is, it's very true. The key is the safety.
Yeah.
Of course, using a very new technologies as we can with the GMDSS systems compared with the standard. This has been, of course, the key is the system. But what I would invite you, this would be a very big discussion with industry representatives and so on, is that as if we compare with the shore industry sector, at national level, the strength of the very useful tool is broadband. At national, has been supported by public fundings. You can still have some industry on the mountain without broadband. You are not imposing any requirements. You are trying to spread by financing, by making infrastructures and so on. Why the shipping industry will not be seen like similarly as being seen in other industries? So if we assume, and it is true, that broadband facilities are very useful, we cannot impose everything on board to operator, but we should also promote it some way. Yeah. That's similarly what happened for the shore industry, is my view. But this could be a big discussion.
You are right, because I don't have the numbers with me today, but from my mind, I can say that maybe there are 70,000 merchant ships in the world. Maybe half of them have already free broadband, because the ship owners prefer to use broadband communications with their ships instead of voice or radio communications. So this is the starting point. All these products have just been launched 18 months ago. Big broadband is completely new. The ball ocean race, which is now sailing and racing all over the world, is very fast yachts, are using for the first time a new product provided by UniMET on a trial basis, and that's why you can see even images. Everything you see about this race on TV, etc., is being broadcasted through a new platform using, of course, satellite communication. So the development of satellite communications is very fast. So maybe there is, at the end, no need to make them compulsory. But coming back to your question, why ships or shipping is not the same that industry producing cars in the mountains, I think that the answer is very clear. It's because the ships are isolated from any other assistance. Ships is a self-contained unit, and no assistance can be provided to the ship while it is at sea. And that's why ships have been always subject to regulation more than other industries, and as well as aviation. So aviation and shipping are two models of industry that are subject to regulation. And that's why the UN system has established the IMO, the ICAO, etc. But there is no specialized agency to build cars, for example, or to produce furniture. So this is, I think, the nature of the business.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm sure you're going to carry on this discussion.